All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another Sunday watch list. Last week was very, very interesting. Last Sunday watch list played out really, really well as well. My top setup for the week, which was the QQQ rejection off of the neckline, 475. If you go back to watch that video, until he has the main setup for the week, was a 475 rejection on QQ. A little bit of patience. We did have a lot of stuff going on last week. FOMC, a bunch of earnings. This week, let's see what we have coming up this week. We have initial jobless claims Thursday, nothing on Friday. So it's a pretty chill economic data week. And as far as earnings goes, I believe we don't have like big companies reporting earnings. We do have a pretty stacked earnings lineup. I don't have the screenshot on me right now, but I know that we do have some companies reporting earnings, but I don't think they're big companies that could really affect the market, such as last week, like Apple, Amazon, Microsoft. But it's still important to be aware. If you want to know which companies are reporting earnings, the Instagram page to go to is called ESP Whispers or EPS Whispers, one of the two. They always post earnings calendars there. I just didn't screenshot it for this video. But let's get right into the watch list, right? This following week, I really like this SPY chart. It's very, very clean, right? We are on a downtrend. Clearly, we are forming a high, a lower high, and lower lows and lower lows. This is our recent area of demand, this 540 area, 540, 539. We recently broke below that, so I am going to be watching for a retest of this area, which will be my main watch for the week. Rejections up in 538 to 540. From move back down into 531, 524, and if things get really weak, back down into 520 to 518. That setup will look amazing for me. If things get strong, a reclaim of that level, if it does get above the level, then I can watch that for going back up into 548 to 550. Either or setup is on the table, leaning a little bit more towards the downside since the trend has shifted and we are showing a lot of weakness on all of these higher time frames, such as the weekly, the daily. Look at these weekly candles coming down with some aggressive volume. Definitely looking for a pullback into this area though, to see if we continue to reject lower. So it can probably happen midweek, Tuesday. We'll see what happens. That's gonna be my SPY chart. Pretty simple overall. Rejects there, breaks below 528, also gets us to 524. So I will be watching that for SPY. QQQ on the other hand, QQQ on the daily, also on a downtrend. Key levels to watch for on QQQ, right? Our recent area of demand that we just broke out of was this 455 area, 455, 454 area. But a little bit below that now. And we have some rejection points back here at this 449 to 450 area. So for QQQ, I want to see if we stay below that or this area right here. This 440, what is this? 3.5. Look at the aggressive bounce that we caught from that level last time. In order for me to be bearish on QQQ, I need to see us clear below that level. Because if not, it will get us a bounce back up into 455, which will be the rejection point. 465 could be another level that if it does reclaim 455, it could get up into 465, 466. So I kind of like the SPY chart a little more. This one's going to take a little bit more patience. But scenarios here would be this. Rejections off of this area or below 450. Or a clean break and hold below the 444, 443 area for moves down into these areas, 440. And our next big area of demand on QQQ isn't going to be until here. This 434. 434 is a big level of demand. So if we do get down there, I can expect a relief bounce at 434. That is going to be my relief bounce zone. Now, that is pretty much it for SPY and Qs. Fairly simple chart, keeping it very easy. Definitely probably would want to buy time on these contracts, not zeros. Here we have Apple. This is another chart that I really like that can be good for a potential swing trade. We have, so also, not only just going based off the technicals, but Warren Buffett just sold a lot of Apple shares. So it's kind of like a confluence, but the technicals look really good in here as well. This was a big area of demand from here. Notice how we bounce here, then it turns into supply. Notice how we get below and then sellers step in and we reject the area. Now we're below that level and we are forming a downtrend as well. A downtrend consists of a high, high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower highs. So if we get below these lower lows here at 214, I can expect to move down into 210, 206, and the next big psychological level is 200. So this is a trade that can pay off really well with time. So something I would definitely be keeping an eye on Apple for potential swing trade with stop losses above 227 and 225. I think this looks like an amazing swing trade opportunity back down into 200. Definitely one of my top setups for the week. Amazon, I believe can get it. I don't look how it has a gap fill. After earnings, it sold off a lot. It has a gap fill to the upside, but I don't think it's going to fill the whole thing up unless it reclaims 175. But 175, 174 is going to be my rejection area. The reasoning why was because it was a big demand zone all back here. Every time we come here, we bounce. We broke below it. Look how here we bounce, break below. So I'll be looking for a retest of the area for continuation to the downside on Amazon based off of that level. Can also take some time on this setup. NVDA, this 100 is a huge psychological level, right? That's going to be the main level I pay attention to here. Anything below 100 has a gap fill down to 96. It's about a $4 move. It's not bad, but other than that on NVIDIA, I won't be interested in upside unless we start reclaiming like 117, or just completely just continue to base out above 108. But that's probably what I'll watch in the video. The 100 psychological level below gives us room to 96. AMD on the other hand, also not one of my favorite setups, but this is a very clear downtrend coming down into this lower trend line. So this is the lower trend line. We have a low, higher low, and currently we are on a downtrend. You can see we have a high, lower lows. This 131 area is a pretty big level of supply back here, right? Every time we come here, look at the big rejection we get from back here, big rejections, bounces. So if I drag this zone to the right, we are currently inside of the zone. So I need to see us clear below if I want room down to this trend line around the 125 areas. Anything below the trend line, that's where things could get ugly on AMD. Back down into like 116, 110, and the 100s on AMD. If things get very weak, this trend line is going to be my main watch. As long as it holds below this supply here at 134, 133. Going into some of these other names, Meta reported earnings and starting to sell off, didn't hold those highs. Google's also looking a little bit weak. Has a gap fill below 163, down into 160. Doesn't look bad actually. Tesla, very weak. We caught this name on Friday. Keep an eye on this 205 area. Below that, probably should give us room down into 200. Let's look at Tesla. Yeah, probably below 205 gives us room to 200. So we'll see what happens with this name. Probably not my top setup for the week. Right now I have SPY, QQ, Apple. Those are some of my top setups so far. And a different sector that I'm really interested for the week is the bank sector. Very weak, right? Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs just broke below a key level of demand here at the 482 area, I believe. 482, 484 was a huge level of demand. I want to see this retest for continuation to the downside. Down, retest, move lower. This looks very clean actually. So this is going to be one of my top setups for the week as well, with time on the contracts. You want to have time on these contracts. So the financial sector and the banks, they don't have a lot of liquidity, so they move fairly slowly. Goldman Sachs, Chase, Citigroup, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, all those names, they move pretty slow. But I really do like this setup on Goldman Sachs, showing a lot of weakness. I want to see a retest of a key level for continuing down into 460 and then 450 is really. So definitely worth keeping an eye on this name. Let's look at some of the other bank stocks like JP Morgan. He's showing a lot of weakness as well. It just fell below a key level of supply. 200 psychological area. Good area to watch it for rejects. Other than that, guys, last one I had was SMCI, which we already pretty much caught this move. We caught this move up here around the 800s, sold off into 700s. Amazing setup. Already like caught a big portion of this move from the previous Sunday watch list, and it's still showing a lot of weakness. 500 would be the next psychological level, but probably watch for rejections on this name at this 650, really like 670 area. 660, 670, which was this previous structure here. Demand, try holding here as demand. This could be our next rejection point here. So other than that, guys, pretty short and simple watch list. Those are going to be my levels for SPY, Qs, and then probably my main setup probably is going to be Apple. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoy the Sunday watches. I hope you guys have a great trading week. Again, make sure to subscribe to the channel if these Sunday watches have been helping you guys. Free broadcast channels where I update the watches every single morning on my Instagram _LexTrades. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Have a good trading week. Peace.